About 6 months ago, I started noticing some changes. Nothing huge at first, just subtle shifts in how she acted. Her phone became a permanent extension of her hand, and she started locking it like it was a vault. She'd get texts at odd hours and laugh while reading them, then suddenly go deadpan if I asked what was funny. I brushed it off at first. Told myself, don't be that guy, man. Don't go full tinfoil hat. But something felt off. You know that gut feeling you get when something's not quite right? Yeah, that bastard set up camp in my stomach and refused to leave. There was this one night that really stuck with me. We were watching a movie, some rom-com she picked. Halfway through, she was just gone. Zoned out. I asked her if everything was okay, and she looked at me like I was speaking Swahili. Said she was just tired. Right. I should have dug in then, but I didn't. I chalked it up to stress from work. I mean, hell, I've been working long hours too. Who am I to judge someone for checking out a little? But then things started stacking up. So, after that movie night weirdness, I started paying closer attention. Not spying, just observing. You notice things when you stop making excuses. Rachel suddenly had a new friend from work, let's call him Jason. She mentioned him once, said he was helping her with a project. No big deal. I've worked with women before. I'm not the jealous type. At least, I didn't used to be. But this guy kept coming up in conversation. She'd drop his name casually, like he was just a regular colleague, but it was always, Jason said the funniest thing, or, Jason thinks the same way I do. At one point I joked, should I be jealous of this Jason guy, and she laughed, too hard. You know the kind of laugh that feels rehearsed. Like she was covering something. Yeah, that. Then came the gym nights. Rachel started going to the gym 3 nights a week. Not unusual, right? Except she'd never been a gym person. I mean, the woman considers yoga too intense. But now she's suddenly really into cardio. And of course, Jason also works out at that gym. What are the odds? I asked if she wanted to go hiking or do something active together. She said she needed her alone time to decompress. Fair, I guess, but I've been here trying to hold us together with duct tape and patience. One night she left her phone on the kitchen counter while showering. Notifications started pinging. Most were nothing, Pinterest, a couple of texts from coworkers. Then one popped up from a contact saved as J. Just a winky face emoji. I didn't even open it. I just stared at it. That one dumb emoji hit me like a shovel to the chest. That was the moment I knew, something was going on. So yeah, after that winky face from J, I couldn't unsee it. My mind went full detective mode. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I think a lot of you would have done the same. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I checked her phone. Not my style. Never had to before. But desperate times and all that. Turns out, J wasn't Jason. It was saved under J, sure, but the full name was James Blackheart. And that little black heart hit harder than it had any right to. Their texts weren't just flirty, they were full-on emotional affair levels. Stuff like, last night was amazing, can't stop thinking about you, and, he has no idea. Yeah. That last one. That was the knife twist. Apparently, they'd met at a conference a couple months ago. He lives in the next city over. I pieced together enough to figure out they'd been meeting up regularly, usually on her gym nights. Some of the messages were graphic enough to make a porn star blush. I sat there in the kitchen, phone in hand, reading my wife's double life in bright blue iMessage bubbles, while she hummed off-key in the shower like nothing was wrong. And all I could think was, what the hell happened to us? I didn't confront her right then. I needed a plan. I needed to calm down. And I needed a drink. I waited until Saturday. Figured if I was going to nuke my marriage, I might as well do it when we had a full weekend to deal with the fallout. She was in the kitchen making her famous scrambled eggs, which, by the way, are just aggressively undercooked and aggressively overhyped, and I sat down across from her with the calm of a man who's already died inside. "Hey," I said, "who's James?" She froze mid-scramble. Didn't even try to play it cool. Just stiffened like someone hit her with a stun gun. Then she laughed. A weird, nervous little bark. "James who?" I didn't answer. Just slid her phone across the table, already open to the messages. Her face went pale. For a full minute, she said nothing. Then the excuses started flying. "It's not what you think. We're just friends." It was emotional, not physical. I let her dig that hole nice and deep before I cut her off. "So when you said, 'last night was amazing,' you meant the emotional connection of sharing feelings over tea?" She tried to pivot. Claimed she was lonely. Said I'd been distant. That she felt like I didn't see her anymore. Look, I'm not a robot. I get it. Marriage is work. And yeah, maybe I got complacent. But you don't trip and fall into someone's hotel bed. You don't accidentally send late-night selfies and plan sleepovers. She cried. I didn't. That surprised both of us. I told her I needed space and went to stay at my buddy Mark's place for a couple nights. Mark didn't ask questions when I showed up at his door with a duffel bag and a six-pack. He just opened the door, stepped aside, and said, "Bottom shelf is yours. Wi-Fi password hasn't changed." Good man. That night, I lay on his lumpy couch, staring at a ceiling I didn't recognize, trying to wrap my head around the fact that my wife, my partner, my person, had been building an entire side life without me. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the deception. The effort she put into it. The lies layered on lies. The careful choreography of gym nights and fake projects and clever text contact names. I felt stupid. Embarrassed. Angry. Not just at her, at myself, too. For not seeing it sooner. For letting it happen under my nose. For trusting her with blind faith. There were moments that night when I wanted to text her. Not to yell. Just to ask, why? Not the poetic, why me, just the raw, pathetic curiosity, what did I miss? When did I become so forgettable? But I didn't. Instead, I stared at the wall until sunrise, cycling through memories like a sad little highlight reel. Our wedding. Our first apartment with the crappy air conditioning. That one time we built IKEA furniture together and didn't kill each other, barely. All of it felt counterfeit now. Like someone had snuck in and rewritten our history while I wasn't looking. That's when it hit me, this wasn't just about cheating. This was a total identity crisis. Who was I, if the foundation of my life turned out to be quicksand? And what the hell was I supposed to do next? 2 days later, I came back home. Not because we talked it out, because I needed clean clothes and I was tired of waking up with Mark's dog breathing in my face. Rachel greeted me like I'd just returned from war. Teary-eyed, soft-voiced, walking on eggshells. "I've been thinking non-stop," she said. "I'm so sorry. I know I've broken your trust. But I swear, it was only emotional. I never slept with him." She looked me dead in the eye when she said it. No flinch. No hesitation. I almost wanted to believe her. That some twisted part of this could still be salvaged. But remember that gut I mentioned earlier? It was screaming at me. So I nodded. Said okay. Then I asked a very simple question, "Mind if I see your texts again?" Her whole body stiffened. She tried to play dumb, I already deleted them. It just hurt too much to see them. Sure. Right. You deleted the evidence to spare your own feelings. I had a backup plan. I'd taken screenshots before leaving and sent them to myself. So I showed her one, just one, where James wrote, "You're incredible. I haven't stopped thinking about how soft your skin felt in bed." And just like that, the mask cracked. Her face fell. Her lips parted, then closed again. And then, with all the fake remorse she could muster, she whispered, "It only happened once." Classic. From "nothing happened" to "okay, once," in under 3 minutes. Like it's a damn sale at Target. She tried to follow it up with, "It didn't mean anything." I was confused. "You were distant." He caught me at a weak moment. I told her the truth, "I don't care if you were weak. I care that you were willing." Something snapped in me that day. Not violently, not yelling, not throwing things. But that switch flipped. The one that changes a man from trying to salvage a burning ship to calmly walking away from the wreckage, watching it burn behind him. I stood there while she tried to keep talking. Trying to control the narrative. Still spinning it like she tripped into his bed on accident. I raised a hand. "Stop." She froze. "You cheated," I said. "You lied. You gaslit me. You used my trust like a weapon." She started crying. But I didn't reach for her. Didn't flinch. It wasn't that I didn't care, it was that I was finally realizing how little she had. I laid it all out. Told her I'd seen every message. That I knew it was more than once. That emotional or physical didn't matter anymore, she'd crossed every line we had. She tried the guilt card. "I thought you didn't love me anymore." I shot back, "And I thought you were worth trusting. Looks like we were both wrong." I told her I'd be staying in the guest room for the time being. That I needed space, not the fake kind where she waits to pounce with more apologies, but real space to think without her trying to rewrite the truth in real time. She sobbed. I didn't. And that night, lying in a bed that still smelled like her shampoo, I realized, I didn't even miss her. I missed the version of her I thought existed. The days after that confrontation were surreal. Rachel tried every tactic in the book: guilt, apologies, seduction, yes, really, even that weird nostalgic charm offensive where she cooked my favorite dinner and acted like we were back in year 3 of marriage and nothing had imploded. I wasn't biting. I kept it civil. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't slam doors. Just existed. Like a roommate who'd lost the lease on his own life. Then she tried to reframe the whole thing. "You know," she said one morning, "this could be a turning point for us." I laughed. Loud. Not because it was funny, but because it was so unbelievably disconnected from reality that it broke something in me. A turning point. "Rachel, this isn't a Hallmark movie. You don't cheat your way into personal growth." She actually looked offended. That's when I knew we were operating in two different worlds. In hers, this was just a messy detour. Something to grow from. In mine, it was a betrayal so deep it rewrote every memory with her in it. She tried again, "I made a mistake. But doesn't everyone deserve a second chance?" And maybe they do. But the thing is, second chances aren't automatic. You don't earn one just by asking. You earn it by being honest, vulnerable, and consistent. She was none of those things. I told her, "You didn't just mess up. You maintained a whole damn side story. Lied to my face. Gaslit me. And you only confessed what I caught you in. That's not a mistake. That's a campaign." Her jaw dropped like I'd slapped her. But I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even flinch. I just told the truth, plainly. Word gets out. It always does. A few days after the confrontation, Rachel's sister texts me, out of the blue. "I just want you to know, I support both of you. Relationships are complicated." Right. Complicated. That's one way to describe sneaking off to bang a guy while I was planning her birthday surprise. Then her mom calls me. Her mom. The same woman who once bragged about how loyalty means everything in marriage. Now she's telling me to look at the bigger picture and consider what Rachel was going through emotionally. I almost asked if she had James on the other line feeding her talking points. Friends started chiming in too. The ones we shared. Some were supportive. Others awkwardly neutral. A few seemed annoyed that I was dragging it out. Dragging it out. As if processing betrayal was something I could bang out over a long weekend and a few beers. But I stayed quiet. I didn't blast her on social. Didn't go nuclear. I let people pick their sides in silence. Because truth is, if someone needs the full details to figure out whether cheating is wrong, they probably weren't on my side to begin with. Rachel, meanwhile, started wearing her guilt like a Halloween costume. Big dramatic sighs. Tearful glances. I just want us to get through this. But here's the kicker, she still never told the full truth. Every time I cornered her with something, it was another, I didn't think it mattered, or, I didn't want to hurt you more. Translation, I didn't want to deal with the consequences. About 2 weeks after the last round of half-truths and pity parties, I had a morning where I woke up and didn't feel like I was drowning. Just, floating. Still cold, still alone, but above water. I made coffee, stared out the kitchen window, and realized I hadn't checked her location, her texts, or her schedule in days. Not because I trusted her again, but because I no longer cared to. That was the moment it clicked. I wasn't trying to save the marriage anymore. I was trying to save me. So I booked an appointment with a divorce attorney. Didn't tell her. Just wanted to hear my options. Know the battlefield. Know if the life raft had a hole in it. Turns out it didn't. I had my own income, no kids, a clean financial trail, and proof, clear, undeniable proof, of infidelity. The lawyer was direct. If you're ready, we can file. And she'll be the one doing damage control. And man, hearing that I wasn't trapped, that I had a way out. It felt like breathing fresh air for the first time in months. I didn't file that day. But I took the packet home. Read every page. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. Not because I had a plan, but because I finally had a choice. I should have hidden them better. Or maybe some part of me wanted her to find them. Either way, the divorce packet didn't stay tucked under my stack of tax returns for long. It was a Sunday afternoon. She was doing laundry, trying to play the doting wife role again. I was in the garage pretending to care about reorganizing paint cans. Then I heard it, her voice. Tight. Cold. What is this? I walked inside, and there she was, holding the packet like it was a dead animal. You're filing for divorce? She asked. Not shocked. Not sad. Just pissed. Like I was somehow betraying her. Thinking about it, I said. That lit the fuse. She launched into a full meltdown. Accused me of being unforgiving, of giving up too easily, of planning to humiliate her. She said, after everything I've done to try and fix this. That was the line that finally pushed me over. You lied, I snapped. You didn't fix anything. You buried it. You tried to outlast the consequences. She went quiet after that. Eyes still wet, but her jaw was clenched like a vice. She dropped the papers on the counter and walked out of the room like she expected me to chase her. I didn't. I made myself a sandwich. Because after months of walking on emotional eggshells, I realized I wasn't responsible for making her feel better about what she broke. She spent the rest of the evening sulking in the bedroom. I watched a movie. Slept in the guest room. Didn't lose a wink. The next week was like living with an actress whose show got cancelled mid-season. Rachel stopped trying. No more overcompensating, no more emotional monologues. The mask slipped, and what was underneath wasn't remorse. It was bitterness. She went from, "I want to fix us," to, "Well, maybe we were broken before this even happened." Oh, so now the marriage sucked. Amazing how fast revisionist history kicks in when someone's losing control of the narrative. She started picking fights over stupid stuff. Like me leaving the dishwasher open. Like I was the one who nuked our vows. "You're not even trying anymore," she snapped one night. I laughed. Not out of spite, out of clarity. Trying. You had a whole side relationship and thought some scrambled eggs would fix it. That shut her down. She sulked, again. Except this time, I felt nothing. No anger. No hurt. Just detachment. Like I was already mourning someone who died a long time ago. She started staying out later. Claimed it was work. I didn't ask. Didn't care. I wasn't keeping tabs anymore, I was keeping receipts. In case this ever went to court. I wasn't reacting the way she expected, and that made her spiral harder. She needed me to be angry, clingy, broken, so she could feel like the victim or the misunderstood hero. But I gave her nothing. And that's when she really started unraveling. It was a Thursday night. I'd just come home from work, exhausted, expecting the usual Cold War vibe. Instead, she was waiting for me in the living room, wine in hand, eyes glassy, not drunk, just something else. Wound up. Reckless. She started talking, fast and loose. About how, maybe we both made mistakes. About how, maybe you pushed me away. About how, James was just a wake-up call. A wake-up call. I asked, flatly, "Are you saying this was my fault?" She didn't say yes. But she didn't say no either. She just shrugged, like she was giving herself permission to rewrite the past in real time. That was it. I sat down across from her. Calm, composed, done. "Rachel," I said, "I'm not your enemy. I never was. But I'm not your scapegoat either. You made choices. You lied. You cheated. And you've been trying to make me carry half the weight of that ever since." She went silent. Then I said the words. Out loud. For the first time. "We're done." Her mouth opened slightly, like she didn't quite believe it. Like she thought I might walk it back. I didn't. I stood up, went to the guest room, and sent a message to my attorney, "Let's file." It was final in my mind long before the ink would hit the paper. Once I gave the green light to my lawyer, things moved fast. Divorce is a wrecking ball when it's fueled by clarity. We agreed on a separation timeline. No kids, so no custody battles. The house? I told her she could have it. I didn't want to sleep another night under that roof, let alone fight for it. I'd take my savings, my truck, my dignity, and be on my way. She tried to negotiate. Not for more money, but for some weird version of emotional closure. "You're really just going to leave?" she asked, like it was unthinkable. I told her, "You already left, Rachel. I'm just finally catching up." I moved into a small apartment on the edge of town. Nothing fancy. Just clean, quiet, mine. The first night there, I ordered pizza, cracked open a beer, and sat on the floor because I didn't have a couch yet. And man, it was peaceful. Not happy. Not triumphant. Just peaceful. There was no more checking my tone, my words, her mood. No more walking around wondering if the woman I loved was telling me the truth. The silence was heavy, yeah, but it was honest. And I realized something, I wasn't broken. I was bruised. There's a difference. Bruises fade. It's been 6 months since I left. 6 months of silence, peace, and rebuilding. Looking back, I don't see myself as a victim. Not anymore. I was betrayed, sure, but staying bitter would have just kept her in my head rent-free. And frankly, she's not worth the space. Here's what I've learned, for any guy sitting on his own version of that cold couch, reading messages he never wanted to find. Your gut is rarely wrong. When something feels off, it probably is. Love makes you doubt your instincts, but instincts were built for survival, not romance. Cheating isn't a mistake. A mistake is spilling coffee. Cheating is a series of choices, every text, every lie, every zipped dress is a conscious decision. You cannot fix someone else's character. You can support, love, communicate, but you cannot outlove someone's willingness to betray you. Peace feels better than being right. I could have screamed, shamed, exposed her. But I chose to walk out with my head high. And that silence, that peace, that's worth more than any petty revenge. You heal faster when you stop chasing closure. The only closure I needed was her proving, over and over, who she really was. I believe her now. I'm stronger. Sharper. I sleep better. I laugh more. And one day, I'll trust again, not because I forget, but because I learned. I rebuilt. I endured. So if you're in the thick of it, cry if you need to, scream into a pillow, rage at the sky. But then stand up. Stand tall. She might have cracked the foundation. But the house? That's still yours to build. Stay strong, brothers. You're not alone.